A lot of people are born in the world and try to find a place to show their ideas, and after that they leave a mark in the history of the humanity. The design started in London in 19th century with William Morris. He was born in the Victorian decade in 1834. This decade became from the Queen Victoria in England, which was the biggest power all around the world, because it had grown after the imperialism. William was well educated and with a lot of culture, so he was very intelligent and with a lot of knowledge. When he got married with his art model, they got a wedding present, which was an expensive house named the Red House. He didn't like any furniture of the stores, so he designed his own furniture. When he saw he was a good designer, he made his own company, named William Morris Company. His paradigm was that the human's work should be over the machines. His movement was named Arts and Crafts, which was known all around the world. He designed since typography until furniture, books, illustrations and works, clothes. His only clients were the rich Europeans. He was the innovator of the design as an independent art. Then the architects, craftsmen and printers got together to build the design. During the communism, the arts were in standby because there weren't any resources to the people, so they couldn't improve the art. After the industrialization, the Art Nouveau born in Europe and in the USA. It was based on distinguishing furniture, jewelry, ceramic, prints, and illustrations. The Constructivism was created in 1914 in Russia, after the October Revolution. It is a kind of pure art and it is a social instrument used by the proletariat because of the social crisis of the World War I and the Russian Revolution. When the World War I finished, Germany had to recover its loss, so they made the Bauhaus School of Arts to improve their market and sell their products made by the university. They didn't want to depend on the government, but in the 20s the school broke down because Hitler made a dictatorship and it was against all kind of arts. So all the students emigrated to the USA. That was a very helpful movement for the USA because all the greatest designers went to improve their ideas. One of the most important designers and architects was the German Mies van der Rohe, who improved a new kind of architecture after the World War I, because he wanted to build a space for all the people who didn't have where to live after the disaster. So he improved a new kind of building named skyscraper, where a lot of families could live on. The most known design by him was the Barcelona chair, and after those projects he was invited to design a lot of cities in Germany to recover their loss. In the 20s, two abstract tendencies were raised. The first one was the Kandinsky, which was the creator of the art, was the same who did the art. And after the 20s, the second appeared, which was the recovery of the Constructivism, and it means that the work of art was the construction. Le Corbusier was an architect and designer born in Switzerland. He was also an improver in the 20s because his desire of humanitarian functional living architecture. The 20s was the age of the creation of man and woman artists. The propaganda started during the World War II to convince the people in some topics. It also covered the graphic design. Paul Revere was the first by creating an engraving portraying unarmed civilians. to include women being fired upon by British soldiers after the Boston Massacre. After the World War II, when all the cities were ruined, and Hitler had avoided the art liberties and the big designers had emigrated, the reconstruction of the cities were made by young designers which weren't as well prepared. Also, some of them emigrated to some countries in Latin America. Because there were monetary resources, a lot of the designers improved the design and raised the level of arts and design. The modern ranch-style house became the predominant architectural style for homes after World War II, thanks to the large number of houses built in a new neighborhood around the country. The 1950s home design was practical. It was a simple one-story house with an open floor pen sleeping quarters separated from the remainder of the house, and it had slim glass patio doors and boat at the outside in. People who have lived in the 1950s home design may have tired of this style and made changes to the house to keep out with the changes in styles and interior design. The 1950s homes were designed originally small, usually around 1,000 square feet. During the Cold War, the fashion design had a special shock to the people because the hippie tendency started and all around the world was known. All the women wanted to feel free, so they mostly used the flowers, which were a sign of youth. And the most important thing in that decade was that the jeans came out. That hippie tendency also changed the way the youth thought, and started to be against their parents, so they were free and finally could express themselves in art. The design started to be more important because the people wanted to have always the most new and original designs made by important designers. This new edge was cleaner and without so many decorations, and the colors were brighter and the style was linear. After those changes in the design, we have arrived till the actual design, which now is more important because in the 50s a lot of schools were opened by European designers that came to America to improve the new designers and architectural schools. So this helped all Latin America to increase the art, design and architecture, because here are the monetary resources to invest on that. The actual design is very different because it has more freedom, and the human is always searching for new styles and arts. That is why the arts are constantly developing.